Hi, I'm Lee Alexander. I'm an improvement facilitator working within a quality improvement team. This short video is going to provide an introduction to measurement, and it will consider the different types of measurement we should be looking at when making change or improvements. To do this, I'm going to consider the three types of measurements we use and then apply these to a service. So the first measure we look at are outcome measures. So what is our aim and what are we trying to achieve? Evaluating against this will tell us how we're doing on our improvement journey. Secondly, we've got process measures. So achieving our outcome will rely on different processes or interventions. We want to measure that these are happening as planned. And finally, we've got our balance measures. So it's about keeping an eye on whether the changes designed to improve one thing are causing problems elsewhere in the system or within the service. So taking these three measures, we can apply them to a service example. So all quality improvement should start with an aim. On this occasion, the aim is to be a no smoking inpatient ward by the 21st of September 2020. So with this clear aim, the team were able to define their outcome measures. So what this meant was having no recorded incidents of smoking on the ward or in the garden area, and this was recorded via incident forms and looked at on a weekly basis. So with a clear aim, the team were able to move on to their process measures. The team came together to consider what are the processes or interventions that will help them to achieve this outcome, four of which I'll describe here. Firstly, to become smoke-free, it is important that everyone had received the relevant training, as this would give the skills, capabilities and confidence to support service users to switch away from tobacco. And the team are measuring this by looking at local training records. Secondly, having a smoking assessment during the admission was really important. So the team are measuring what proportion of patients receive a smoking assessment on admission. To successfully become a smoke-free ward, service users will need to engage in nicotine replacement and other alternatives. This will be supported by the training and the smoking assessments. And the team will measure the impact they're making against switching people to alternatives by looking at prescription rates. And finally, early on, the team identified that whether or not a service user was aware that the ward was a smoke-free environment before arriving had a big influence on whether or not they engaged in switching away from tobacco. To achieve this, the team are working closely with referring teams and will measure how they're progressing against this by recording patients' awareness on admission. In terms of the balance measures, the teams were concerned that restricting tobacco might lead to increased violence or aggression. As such, they're keeping an eye on whether incidents of restraint seclusions increase. So far in the first 4 weeks, evidence is suggesting that going smoke-free has actually had a positive impact on incidents, and these seem to have reduced. Nevertheless, it's important to keep an eye on this as a balanced measure. So with these informed measures, we can lead to informed actions. So I'm going to run through 4 scenarios of how these might inform what we do next. So the team might identify that they're achieving their outcome measure. There's no incidents of smoking on the ward or in the garden. They consider all of the interventions they put in place to help achieve this, and they're all working well and happening as planned. There's no unintended consequences. As such, the team should continue what they're doing and keep measuring. Another scenario is that the team are achieving their outcome measures. All of those interventions and change ideas are happening as planned, but there's some unintended consequences coming through the balance measures. On this occasion, the team would want to consider whether or not the adverse effects can be avoided or mitigated and how they might do this. The team might find that they're not achieving their outcome measures, so people are still smoking on the ward or in the garden. They look at all those change ideas they came up with and reflect that they're all happening as planned. Again, there's no balance measures. So on this scenario, what the team would want to consider is whether there's any other ideas or changes they could introduce to help achieve those outcomes of no smoking on the ward. The final scenario to consider is that the outcomes aren't being achieved. When the team reflect on those changes and interventions that they came up with, it turns out that they're not happening as planned. There's no adverse impact. So in this scenario, before the team move on to creating other change ideas, what they want to do is reflect on why their existing change ideas and interventions aren't happening and whether these can be overcome. Hopefully this has been a useful video around measurement for quality. If you'd like any more support, then please email us at qiteam@shsc.nhs.uk. Thank you for watching.